Hey everybody, this is Charles Harper, and I am here with Dave Espino, and I like to say that I knew Dave before I knew Dave, and because you may remember, and depending on how old you are, that Dave did a product on eBay, and I bought that product a long time ago, before there was internet, before there was all this stuff, not before there was internet, before we had internet, information products. I bought it, and then I got to know Dave over the course of the years. Now he's doing something on Warrior that I think is really interesting because I didn't even know it was possible. Dave, you were taught we were chatting beforehand. You were saying that there's a way to kind of be, or you've been able to be in front of some of the people who are using AI. Can you want to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I'm very excited. And thanks, Charles, for having me on here. We go back a long way, and I really appreciate our friendship. You and I are very similar because we both love to teach.
Yep.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. So, I discovered this because I was looking at some analytics of traffic and where traffic was coming from. And I was like, wait a minute, there's ChatGPT right there. How am I getting traffic from ChatGPT?
Hmm.
And as I'm going through that, I went down this rabbit hole to understand how is this happening? Because it was happening by accident, but I thought, how can I make this happen on purpose, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I did some research, and here's the thing about it is nobody knows about this right now. This is
Yeah.
a hidden source of traffic that is not just dribs and drabs of traffic, but it's a tidal wave that's starting to form. People are starting to see this, but they don't know how to actually make it happen, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
This is almost like when Google SEO first started and
Yeah.
people were finding themselves at the top of Google getting all this traffic and they had
Uh-huh.
no idea how it was happening. We're talking, I don't know, 2003?
Yeah.
So this is like a once in a generation opportunity to get into the AI engines before anybody else does. Because once you're there, at least for now, you're there. They're like nobody's going to edge you out, especially if you know what you're doing. So that took me on a little journey, Charles, to find out how can I do this on purpose.
Hmm.
It's where I ended up creating this product that does that. And so I'm
Right.
just really amazed and shocked and excited to bring this to the world.
So a lot of the people who are going to be listening to this call, um, they've got they've got an online presence, or they've got offers that maybe, you know, the biggest struggle is how to get people in front of them, right? And so um, let's start for the people who have a presence. Is this something that people who have just a presence, maybe got a brand, they're trying to get people to kind of come that indirect way to look at their offers? Is this something they can use?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because think of it like SEO. If they know about SEO, this is getting yourself in the prime position on Google, which is now the only really main search engine people use, right? But it's
Hmm.
the prime position. So this is getting yourself in the prime position in the AI tools. And we're not just talking about ChatGPT. We're talking ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, uh, X, Twitter has Grok.
Hmm.
Facebook Meta has Llama as their AI tool. We're
Yep.
talking about Claude. We're talking about Perplexity. I might be missing one or two, but each one of these AI engines, let's call it an engine, has its own way of surfacing your content.
Right.
Now,
Yep.
those of us like you and I, Charles, we know that content essentially equals traffic.
Yep.
It's the same thing. So the way we generate traffic is we create content or we put our ad in the middle of content somewhere on the internet, right?
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
either pay for it or we create it. Um, of course, smart marketers do all of it.
Right. Yep.
The point is that if you know how to create the content the right way for Grok, for example, Grok's different than ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Grok's
Yep.
looking for different things and different ways. So if you know how to do that, then you win. You win the AI engine wars,
Hmm.
right? Which is like winning the SEO wars back in 2005.
So I know you are you do kind of both. So I know that you do some branding. but I know that primarily you focus on buyers, and that's where a lot of our customers are. They're really looking for buyers.
Mhm.
Now, do you think that this is do you think that this is a better way of finding buyers for something that you already have, or should people kind of walk into this saying, okay, I wanna get people to know me better? Which would you say is
Ooh,
the better?
that's a great question. Uh, Huge question because this is such a new thing
Hmm.
that we're still kind of discovering what is the best way to do this. But I can give you this insight, Charles, and that is when you're there in ChatGPT, let's use that because that's the most
Hmm.
popular, right? When
Hmm.
you're in ChatGPT as an answer that was given, you know, you have so much authority, positioning. You are
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
credible
Hmm.
because you're there, nobody else is there, and ChatGPT being the super brain is recommending you.
You're right.
I
Yep.
mean, that's huge authority positioning. So you can just go for the sale. You can just go for the buyer right there because they've done the seeking out of you, right? And
Right.
essentially,
Right.
they've sought you out, and because they've sought you out, and then they find you in the super brain, lights out. You're done. You
Hmm.
make a sale, right? So that's part of the magic of it. But I think there may also be some cases where you might pop in a little lead magnet or something to
Hmm.
generate to get even more of those people into your ecosphere to be able to sell to them over time. But yeah, I think I'd be leaning toward that you can just outright make sales from it because of that authority positioning that ChatGPT gives you.
Hey, here's what I want to do. I think what I want to do now is I like to go inside of the product and have you really kind of take me in. And so what I'll do is I'm going to put our affiliate link here. And so people that pick it up, what I'll do is I'll give them the rest of this call that we're about to do. And then and then I'll try to create some kind of guide to creating content that they can either use or resell, once we've kind of talked through the actual product. So, if you're watching, you're probably watching, maybe you're watching this on YouTube. Um, what I think we'll do is I'm gonna go with Dave in the product. And we're just going to go a little deeper inside of there and and have him really talk about the particulars. And so I'll give you a URL if you're listening. It's the plrshow.com/Dave E, which stands for Dave Espino. And that is where I will give you the rest of the conversation that I'm about to record with Dave. Dave, any final words about, to people who, let's say, they're thinking about, whether or not they want to do this or not?
Um, I say look at the link that Charles gave you. That pretty much speaks for itself. You happen to be at a historic time right now, and you're at the right place at the right time. And so it's important that you make a very careful decision about whether you want to be on this train or stay, stay at the train station, because this is clearly the future of how people are going to find you, no matter what business you're in. This is the future. The swell of this wave is just beginning, you know. The tidal wave is going to come, and you're either going to surf that wave and enjoy it, or you're going to be crushed by it. I hate to sound dramatic, but this really is this really is a moment in history. This really is like the beginning of Google or the beginning of YouTube or the beginning of any of these groundbreaking, events. This really is that important. So you can either get in early and, have a blast, or you can find out about a few years or months from now from the gurus that discover it at some point and go, hey, I could see, Charles, I could see people like Gary V proclaiming this. Like, you can be in the chat GPT,
Like he invented it, right?
right? I could see that kind of thing happening. I could see entire courses, being
Yeah.
put out about this. And I'm just so grateful that I was a curious person,
Hmm.
went down a rabbit trail and
Yep.
figured this out. So This is a very exciting I call it a mini software tool because it's very simple to use. It doesn't
Hmm.
require any installation or anything. It's super easy, super simple, and it's going to really blow your mind, I think, as you get into it.
That being said, the plrshow.com/Dave E. And I'm going to now kind of stop this part of the conversation. I've asked Dave to just kind of take me inside so we can get into the guts of this because I actually want to know for myself now, right? So that with that, everybody, thanks very much. Have a great day. And the link is right down here, the plrshow.com/Dave E. Hey everybody, if you have any questions, you can. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. That was the portion that we did with Dave early on this morning, and Dave's one of our Ultimate Insider members, and Dave's been around for a little while. And as I said, um, he originally kind of came on my radar from having done an info product by infomercial. You may remember it. It was by eBay, and I actually bought that product. I don't know about you. So if you can get, I went inside of the product with Dave. I acted as you, as a PLR user, and kind of asked him some questions based on what he has in there, and based on how you want to go through it. And of course, the deal with this, with me giving you this bonus, I will have the training, and so. Um, I could probably give you a bunch of stuff, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of be open to your asking me questions, and then we'll process it, right? So if you have any questions when you go through it, just write me in support, and I will answer your questions about this. Okay, so that's that. I do want to talk briefly about AI automations and bots, and about how you are going to start presenting this idea to your customer. I don't have a lot planned, but I do want to talk about tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing the perfect pre-sale for Melody and Sharon as part of their bots, and those individuals that purchased their bot through my affiliate link. I'm going to do a pre-sale call for you. But let me kind of give you some insight on what we're talking about when you are going to go before an audience. You don't have any idea of whether or not your customer is going to be willing to buy either instruction or a specific automation. Now, the deal with automation is that a lot of these things are easy enough to understand that if you've got a custom do an automation by using either instruction that Sharon gave you, or just by using a recipe for an automation, you should be able to do it. Now, we're going to be releasing some automations and some recipes on how to do it, but basically, you always want to customize, or give the customer the ability to customize a GPT. Now, marketers um, don't always count, because marketers will kind of buy, sell, and trade automations. And it will sell those automations and trade automations just based on um, selling and reselling. A real customer will want to have these things customized to their business. But when you say customize, first of all, don't get the idea in your head that's going to be a lot of work. Second of all, don't think that it's low value, because what you're really doing for a customer when you give them an automation using AI, you are really giving them the ability to, first of all, work harder on the problems that really matter in their business. And you're really freeing them up to make more money. And so you ought to charge accordingly. So it's not a low value task. Understanding how to do this for someone is probably one of the more valuable services that you can provide, and you don't commoditize. If you just focus on selling and reselling, right? You can do that. Understand that. That is something that you can do. However, that is the lowest level process that you can possibly have. You want to focus on being, whether you be an expert in one specific, people use the word vertical. I'm not trying to be fancy, but I'm just saying, if you want to take one sliver and you get good at creating automations, applying AI bots, applying these things to a specific kind of business, I think that's where you want to be if you can be. And I know a lot of people that I have talked to over the last couple of days who are doing this, they really have a specific market. Some people cut that market locally. So, in other words, they are the go to person in a specific local market. Some people are a go to guide or person within a specific industry niche or sub niche. They know that sub niche well enough so that people refer them, and they know it so that they know what automations to place inside of a business. And so, even as accessible as AI is, people don't want to do this for themselves. And I'll tell you this I'll just kind of put a bug in your ear. This weekend, I got a chance to really see how real people think about AI, not internet marketers, right? Those of us who are internet marketers, we hang out on the internet, we watch YouTube videos, we watch all this stuff, but we're not necessarily reflective of the real market. And this last week, I mean, I was with their PhD students, and you would think, well, I mean, they're not, they're not like us. I mean, they're not going to be thinking about like a business person. You'd be surprised. I got a chance to see number one, the level at which um, AI has been adopted by everyday people in their everyday lives who are trying to get things done. Number two, they are willing to pay to have new information and new things. So people that have more time, more money than time are willing to spend that money with people like you so that you can put these things in place for them, right? People that have more time than money, right? That's going to be those are going to be the people that you want to sell the automation to as a commodity, right? But they're both people, both markets exist and both levels of people are existing. You've got to be able to position yourself someplace in that ecosystem where people want automations, and they do. They understand what AI does. Some people do not want to understand AI any more than what it can do for them. They want somebody else to do the doing. Right? People are not interested in the doing, they're interested in what it does. And so there are lots of ways that people like us, internet marketers, can be part of those who are implementing and getting these things done. But just as Dave was saying, some of that really does have to do with being in the right place at the right time. And so that's what I really encourage you. This last week we've been talking about robot takeover. It's kind of my little way of talking about all the different offers and things that have been available later on next week, right? On Wednesday, if you are watching, I want you to pay attention. We are going to be releasing a new PLR product. It's going to be free to Ultimate Insiders called How to Create and Sell a Custom GPT. And that's going to be a good opportunity for you to, number one, to either teach someone or to put these things in place and to create recipes, right? Customizing GPT is a very important way of being able to be in the marketplace, um, um, dealing in automations. It's a good way to learn, it's a good way to process, and it's a good way to be known for something that people actually want to have happen right now, right? And I would say that with your level of knowledge of automations, you're probably in the 75th percentile. Now, there used to be a time when you would be in the 97th percentile with the kind of things you know. However, I will say that AI has been adopted by people of all stripes, and a lot of people are understanding these things because, again, they're accessible to people, right? And so Google, OpenAI, all these companies are trying to make them accessible, and people are eating it up. And so whatever you can do to position yourself as someone who can implement, right? Someone who can do, here's the kind of the way you want to think about this. And you may not be a big movie fan, you may not be a big Tom Cruise fan or anything like that. This is not about Tom Cruise, but it is about this. There's a difference between someone who does their own stunts and what we can, if you can be someone in the internet marketing space who does their own stunts, right? Not only do you know about AI and automations, you do them, you create them, you customize them, you implement them, you put them in your own business. So being able to do your own stunts separates you, just as if, and again, I mean, I think the last movie that this guy did, it wasn't a great movie, but people still rave about the actor. And a lot of what they rave about the actor is that he does his own stunts. And so be someone, in our space that does their own stunts. And I think that's going to be important in order not to get commoditized in, this specific marketplace. Um, so again, make sure that you check out my call with Dave Espino. And you can get the bonus call that I did with him, where we dove in to his product, right? We got inside of there, and we started to get into what he was really talking about on plrshow.com/Dave E. Tomorrow, actually on Monday, I will release one AI video per day to coincide with the beginning of the month. Now, if you're an Ultimate Insider, I'm actually going to release that to you tomorrow. But to the public, I will be releasing one AI video per day, month two, on Monday. Right on Monday, I will release month two. And again, Ultimate Insiders, look for an email from me. I will release that course to you either late tonight or early tomorrow morning, first thing when you look into your links. And let me see. It looks like I've got a question here. Let me see a question here. Yeah, Bob's actual comment is, it seems that previously it was somewhat tough to sell someone when delegating and outsourcing, but providing automations is easier. Yeah, it's an easier. I think people fundamentally understand that, right? People do fundamentally understand, Bob, automations, and it's probably an easier sell. You're right, right? Okay, so one AI video per day on Monday, unless you are an Ultimate Insider. If you're an Ultimate Insider, I will release that to you sometime late tonight or early tomorrow. Again, that's so that you can be ready for the first. Now, the way these things are going to happen from now on is that the first of every month, I'll release a new one. And so that's how you'll know. This will help me also so that I'll know whether or not I'm ahead or behind in my creation, right? It was kind of a little disorienting to try to figure out on the 17th and where I am. I've got 15 more to do. And this will really help me to be able to create these better for you. I'm kind of excited about that product. Um, Once again, AI Monetization Masterclass. Very excited about Tuesday. The great Chad El Jazeera will be with us. He will be talking about AI. You do not want to miss it. The only way that you'll be able to see the replay, just like I did with Melody and Sharon, just like we did with Carmen and Carmen Chin, you need to be in the actual course. And anytime somebody gives me a coupon or a deal, the only way you get that coupon or deal with our speakers is you got to be part of AI Monetization Masterclass. And it's really cheap for what you're getting. Week by week, I'm going to be talking to a new expert. We've got Matt Garrett coming up. We've got my heroes, the Rhodes brothers. We got a real lineup coming for you. It's gonna be a hot summer, right? A hot AI summer. So make sure that you are in your place again. The only way you'll be able to see the replay, now I will play an excerpt of the call live on Tuesday, but um, the only way you're going to be able to see the whole call or get whatever deal that the speaker is offering, you do have to be in a monetization masterclass. And plus, you also get four live sessions of training that I did with unrestricted rights, right? And if that's all you had, right? If all you did was just use the four sessions that I did, well, that's well worth your $17. But you're also going to get training from real people who are really using AI in the real world. That's the idea of this. And I could have technically put Dave on this call too, right? But Dave had a launch, and so I wanted to make sure that we talked to him while he did his launch. And last week, um, great call. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, there's an excerpt on the plrshow.com/Tuesday PLR show. The entire call is inside of AI Monetization Masterclass, in addition to a $10 coupon on there. on their automation product. So if you have not picked up their automation product, you can go to melodyandsharon.com. Just know that there's a two. If you are a member, if you are a participant in AI Monetization Masterclass, there's a $10 coupon for you inside of there, which you can use on Melody and Sharon's awesome bot project. Right? It's a very, very, very cool, very, very cool project. You'll see that when you get to their sales page. They put a lot of work into it, a lot of thought into it, and Sharon's just an absolute whiz at this. So make sure that you check that out. And again, you want to find out what it's more about. You kind of looking at it, you kind of saying, I don't really, really know what this is going to be all about. Listen to the replay excerpt, and that'll give you some insight on what Melody and Sharon are talking about. You can do that at the PLR the PLRshow.com / Tuesday PLR show. Okay, so really that's it. I hope that you had a little fun with Dave and that was beneficial for you. And once again, I'll pull that back up. You can get our bonus call at the PLRshow.com / Dave E. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with me here. And I just want to say that I appreciate you. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.